Hello, my name is Pablo Gonzalez, and today I'm going to present my app. It's called CheatSheetMaker, and it's a very useful app for creating cheat sheets. These cheat sheets can summarize different concepts from libraries of programming, frameworks, technologies, and it's also not only for developers, but it can be used in all fields of science and non-science fields. And I find it really useful. I use it every day for work. And in this video, I'm going to explain how to set it up, how to use it, how to explore all the different functionalities. And at the end, we are going to go in depth and create our own first cheat sheet using AI. I find it really useful because nowadays, when we work, we tend to use a lot AI, and sometimes it's just better to create some summarizations in these cheat sheets that helps you go fast and copy paste the commands that you want and have full control of what you are doing. So I find it really, really handy in a daily basis, and I hope that you like it. Let's go with the explanation, and I hope that you will enjoy and download this application. Thank you. Let's start by presenting the cheat sheet editor. This is the first version of the editor, and we can see the different features that it has. When you get to a cheat sheet, for example, a Git cheat sheet, you get the following information. You get an editor view of all the different sections of this cheat sheet. Each section have a title and a description, and inside of them they have different information that I will present later. But we have subsections, different cells of text and code. Then we have a preview version of the HTML cheat sheet, and finally we have a compact form of the PDF cheat sheet. It's a very useful way of presenting information in a compact form that can be really, really easy editable. So that's the best and important feature of this cheat sheet editor, that it lets you create cheat sheets in a structured way that can be easily edited and also improved. I am going to present how to set it up, and then I will go in depth with all the features. To understand this project, we first have to go to GitHub. Here we have the repository. It's called CheatSheetMaker, and I'm going to publish the link to this repo in this post. First of all, we have different files, the backend, the frontend, some prompts that I am going to explain later, and different files that we are going to use to set it up. There is a full description that is really useful to read. We have all the features that this cheat sheet has, the tech stack that was used in the front end, in the rendering, in the backend, in all the infrastructure of the databases. And we have a quick start with Docker, and also a local development start that is very useful for people that wants to collaborate in this project. The difference between the quick setup and the local development is that the quick setup is not meant to change the code, but in the local development, you can easily change the code and see the results in the browser. So that is really, really useful. First of all, I'm going to talk about how to set it with the quick setup with Docker, and then we are going to explain it using the local development way. To set it up with Docker, we first need to create a empty folder. For that reason, we are going to go to, for example, documents, create a folder, and we can call it cheat sheet demo. Once we create it, we have to open it with some code editor. So cheat sheet demo. So once we have opened it, we have to open at the terminal, and we have to paste the commands that are in the README file that it is in the repository in the quick start part, exactly like this in PowerShell. And we have to see that we have a version of all of them that is compatible with the project. The next step will be to clone the project. So we have to paste git clone, and if we press space and we put a point, all the information will be cloned inside the folder that we have created. We have to do the authentication. It's going to have a pop-up. And once everything is cloned, we have the full project inside our folder. Then we have to copy the environment file that we have created, in this case. For doing that, we have the following command. Copy env example into env. So we now have created a new env. Here we can change all these variables to use wherever we want. For example, about the password, we should change the password, but it's important to match everything that you change here to the database URL because that is really, really important. In this case, I have to change the instance name because I have other instances running of CheatSheetMaker. I'm going to put demo, for example. And then we go to the next step. The next step will be just to do the Docker Compose build. So we paste the following step 3, Docker Compose app build, and this will be the build the full application. So it will download all the requirements for the backend, all the requirements for the frontend, and will run the database and give us the frontend URL where we can see our application. This application will be seen in the port 3000, that is the frontend. The backend will be in the 8000 port, and the database will be in the 5432 port. Now I have to wait for it to finish, and we will continue once everything it is downloaded. We have this message of starting. We can directly go to localhost and search for our instance that is running on port 3000. So we go to localhost 3000 and we will get into a page such as this one. That is a registering page. Here we can start creating our own credentials. For example, we can go with some mock names and easy to remember password. And we can go ahead and create our first account. Here we will be welcome to the editor page, and we will have two cheat sheets that will help us understand the application. Now I'm going to explain how to set it up in the development mode, and we are going to go ahead and explain everything in detail. For the development setup, it's really easy. It's just the same, creating an empty folder, cloning the repo, copying the example variable, and then we are going to run the following script. It's called start piece one, and this script will make everything easier for the development because it will start the backend, the frontend, and the database just in one command. And it will create an environment for the backend, and it will download all the dependencies for the frontend. So it is really useful for creating everything in one go. I will continue when this is done. Everything run. And it's very important to notice that once you run the start PS1, you receive message as installing the requirement for the backend, starting the database. Then we have the initialization of the backend. Then we have all the installations of the packages of the frontend. And then we have a message of starting, and we have a endpoint for the frontend. So it is the visual part. So this is really important because the files that are being created are in the backend are a virtual environment with all the dependencies, and for the frontend we are fixing the node modules. So we are downloading all the requirements and libraries based on the package log JSON and in the package JSON. So that is really, really important. So now we can just go to this URL, and I will show some examples of what we can see in this first welcome cheat sheet. So now that we have covered both the quick setup with Docker and also the local development setup, I recommend using the local development to use this project and increase the functionalities and also fix some bugs. But if you want to set it up with Docker and just use it, it is completely fine. Now we are going to explore the both cheat sheets that we have here. We can see an old application. We are going to go around all the application. We see two cheat sheets, one that says welcome, another one that says bienvenido. The one that is in English is the welcome one, obviously. So we can click on it and we get a full detailed welcome cheat sheet that is going to help us a lot to understand what are the functionalities and what are the limits of this application. So let's go first around the top bar and the sidebar of this application. In the sidebar, we have a collapsible button, and we can add new cheat sheets. For example, here I created a new one, and we can also import them using JSON and or uploading a JSON file. I will go with this a bit later. For the moment, we're going to explore the welcome one. We have the button of sign in, and then we have a language change. We can change the language. We are going to go with English for now. In the top bar, we have an editor of the title, a group assignation. This is really useful. For example, if we want to create a group, for example, welcome group, and we can assign the yellow color. In case we want to assign this cheat sheet, we can just drag it, or we can select it here and then save it. So we have it in the group. This is very useful to make groups of cheat sheets. And then we have the undo and redo button, the search button, where you can search words inside your cheat sheet, a navigation bar, where you can go through sections and subsections of each of these cheat sheets. For example, if I want to go to this one, it's going to just display this subsection. I'm going to explain that later. Then we have three different versions that we're going to go around them. The export button, an autosave button, and the save button of the cheat sheets. For the moment, we are in the edit view. In this edit, we can do a lot of things. We can drag all the sections together. We can create sections, subsections, and different type of lines. What is a line? A line is the thing that we see here. We have lines of text and also lines of code. First of all, we have the title of the description, the full description of the section, and then we have text cells of text that this will be an example. We have the T of text where we can drag and create cells of text, and then we have cells of code. This will be code text where we can put methods, parameters, and strings, and also add a small comments about what this command does or what this code does. So it's really useful. We can also delete the different cells or press the edit button or delete them. We can drag them, we can create more in between. We can do a lot of things in these lines. We can do the same for every different subsection. A very important thing that we see in the editor overview is that we have different keyboard shortcuts. Here it talks about the syntax, where we can put methods, parameters, and strings just by clicking the buttons or by using this special format. And we can also render Markdown. I think this is a very cool feature because we can render Markdown inside these text cells. And now we're going to go around the LaTeX section. Apart from Markdown, we can also render LaTeX formulas. So it's very useful for math area or for explaining anything that is related with math or economics or something that has any LaTeX inside of it. So we can also render LaTeX. That is really useful. About the images, we can also input images and we can change their size just by dragging and selecting the size. So this is very, very handy too. For the code part, it is the main aim of this cheat sheet. We can easily create sections of code, for example, about Git. We have different configurations, for example, the setup of Git, stage and commit, all about branches, remote operations, everything. So here we can easily create the different commands and explain what is their use of case. And I find this really handy because with this we are going to be able to create really compact cheat sheet that we can have anytime and really check really fast instead of having like huge documentations that are really hard to go around and of different frameworks. I think it's very easy to just have it in the same application. So yes, this will be the editor. We can create lines, import sections, we can add images, add subsections, we can add sections and at the end of the page. We can do everything here. Then in the preview, it will be very similar to the editor, but here we will have an index and we don't have the ability to be able to edit. We have to edit in the editor, obviously. But here, for example, for the commands, we are able to just copy paste the command. So when I click copy, it is copying only the command. So it's very handy just to copy your code, paste it in, and if you have a huge function that you want to reuse, you just copy paste and you have it there and you can really easily change it, edit it, and I found it really, really handy. Another important thing is that everything of this is really interactive. You can search your section, you can collapse it. Sorry, here you can open only one. So it is really, really useful. About the PDF format, this is the compact format. It's a more compact form of having the LaTeX and all the review. We see that the figures are really big. In this case, we will have to make them smaller. But we see like the compact form of this cheat sheet that is really handy. I'm going to show a better example later. And we can just like download the PDF and have the compact format of this PDF here. Now I'm going to show some examples and we are going to create a full new cheat sheet that is going to be really useful. Now I'm going to show quickly a few examples of very useful cheat sheets. For example, the Git cheat sheet. We can directly click in the view button. So if we click in the view button, we get to the HTML version, the interactive one that is really useful. If we uncollapse everything, we can see the full cheat sheet. For example, the basic operations in Git, adding changes and staging them, committing them, being difference between commits, removing and moving files, the branching and merging that I think is really useful to know. And we have all the different commands that we can easily copy paste. And we have different text explanations that explains everything in detail. And we can change it to our view, to what we think that we want to do, and also to our language. So we can use it as our own way. About remote repositories, history and inspection, how to search for different bugs, everything with images that I find it really useful. So yes, it's a really useful way, and we can also search for words that we want to look for example, branch. So we can go directly to those words in case we just want to focus one thing. Or in the preview version, we can use the navigation bar to go directly to the section that we want to explore. Another interesting cheat sheet is the Python one that I have been making a lot. This cheat sheet include a lot of sections, for example, about the native Python characteristics as data types, strings, lists, dictionaries, set and tuples, and all their operations. Let's see it in the PDF version. We can see that the layout of the subsections is masonry, so it has this ability of occupying the more blank space possible and leaving as less as blank space as possible. So it is like the best way. Instead of every subsection starting at the same height, leaving blank spaces, here they get collapsed. One starts where the last one ends, so it's really useful. And it's very like easy to see all the different list methods, a bit some comments about what they do. So that is really really useful. So this will be all the cheat sheet that I have been developing. We have daytime operations, regular expressions, collections module, itertools module, JSON module. We have a lot of things that are really useful. And we can even change the number of subsection columns. In this case, we have 3. Imagine that we only want 2. We can easily change it. Now we have 2. And if we want only 1 to see like this, we can put it to 1. In my case, I think 3 is the best one. You have everything in just one take of look, but it is just for the user for what it wants. And that is like the explanation. Now I'm going to explain what is the format of the different files. We can see that in the cheat sheet format, the different cheat sheets follow the same format. It is a JSON structure format. And that is really useful because we can create these cheat sheets only using AI. So now I'm going to show you how to use AI to create a cheat sheet and how to import it. We can easily import it using just pasting the JSON or uploading the full JSON file. So let's go to Cloud and create our own cheat sheet. For this cheat sheet, we're going to create one of Keras. This library is very used in machine learning for everything, for modeling of neuronal networks, and it has a very useful documentation that is really understandable, but it's quite long. And For searching sometimes it's good, but if you want to kind of see everything in one eyesight, it's very useful this application, and we are going to show how to create really fast documentation cheat sheets that are really useful. So for example, in this documentation we have all the models, layers, the different optimizers, metrics, loss functions, everything. We are just going to like use this API URL, I mean, to create the full cheat sheet. We don't have even to have like a full markdown file of all the documentation. We are just going to use the URL since Claude has this search in the web function. So to create this cheat sheet, we just have to go to the code, and inside the code, we go to the README file. No, not the README, the prompts file. And in the prompt base, we just copy paste everything that is in this prompt. We create this project, and here we're going to paste the full prompt of creating cheat sheets, and we're going to paste a prompt to create a cheat sheet about Keras. I have it already done here. Let me just copy it. So here I just put the URL, and I say a small prompt telling him that it has to be a JSON file, and also use LaTeX to explain all the loss functions, the metrics functions, etc. So the more you put the effort in creating this file, the more the better is going to be the final cheat sheet result. So let's just press and see what it happens. Perfect. The AI already finished making the cheat sheet. It made a few sections. So here we have a small. It made 14 sections with 46 subsections, and here is a quick summary of everything that he did. So here we can just copy the JSON or download it. We are going to just copy it, and we can go directly to our application. And in the import button, we can go to the paste JSON and go to import. Once it is imported, we already have the cheat sheet, so we can just save it. Here is already saved because we have the autosave mode, but we can just like press save button, and we already have a full cheat sheet with all the information of the documentation, and a cheat sheet that we can edit very easily, and we can add everything that we want to add or delete something that we don't want to use. So I find it really handy, and probably there is also information about the LaTeX formulas. Let's see if there is any rendering of LaTeX. For example, here, the dense layer, there is an explanation of how a dense layer functions in a neural network. This will be the activation function. We have the weight matrix and the bias matrix. So everything is really well explained with different formulas. So I find this really amazing. And you can edit it, you can put examples, you can put images to understand everything to the detail, and really use it to as a really useful tool to not be dependent of AI to work with you, but just you making your copy paste from your own notes. So here there is an explanation of all the optimizers, how the momentum works in the stochastic gradient descent, and all the different optimizers. So yes, it's a very, very, very good cheat sheet for just a moment, and it can be really improved really easy. So if we don't want to redo the whole cheat sheet, we can just go and import subsections. We can ask only to create a subsection, not a full section, and paste subsections here, or only import one section. So we can do it for everything. And in the PDF version, we have the compact form. So we have installation and backend, building models, the layers API, model training, optimizers, loss functions, metrics, and everything that we want. So yes, I find this really amazing. I think it's a very useful tool, and I want everyone that wants to contribute to this project to just create a branch and do a pull request. I will take a look at it, and I want to improve so many things: the control of the layout of the subsections, the appearance, maybe it can be a bit better, and to create a home page where everyone could share their cheat sheets of different subjects. I think it will be really cool, and I think it's the way to go with this world of everything using AI to program. I think it's very important to have knowledge of what you are doing and to also have the code and the ability to just review everything in just a small tab that can be grouped. So yes, this is my application. I hope you like it and see you around. Leave a like in the repository and thank you very much.